This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and MouseFan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees. To get your free no-obligation quote, visit www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, May 12th, 2010, and this is episode 719 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudiosCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
He won't forget the licking he got from that big chicken. Now he gets his poultry from the store.
Oh, veggie, kitchen cabaret, veggie fruit.
Kitchen cabaret, veggie fruit.
Wow, well, that'll make Emily Westhoff very happy. She loves that attraction. I don't get it.
Awesome.
Every now and then you can hear it on Mouse World Radio, I think. Maybe Mouse World Radio like 3.
You hear everything on Mouse World Radio. You kidding me? It's awesome.
Paid to the order of Michael J. Scopa.
Checks in the mail.
Also joining us on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Matt, it's been 2 days, and I haven't heard back from Gavin, so I don't think I'm getting that afternoon drive slot.
Oh, sorry, bro. I guess you're stuck with us for a little while longer.
I guess. All right.
Yeah, sorry.
I was all packed and ready to move out, California. Yeah, here I come.
And then sadly
so
nothing.
you're ready to, you're singing going to Cali, Cali.
I'm going back to Cali, but now I'm staying here. So
Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Also joining us on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome to the show, Len.
How's it going, Matt? Matt, good news. My cherry trees have cherries this year.
Woot.
Hundreds of cherries.
Now it's time to retire, Len, and sit back and enjoy the profits of the cherry market.
Exactly.
Warren Buffett, watch out. On today's show, we're answering your listener questions. And we'll start out with a question from Choi from New York.
Choi.
He writes,
Choi.
Hi, all fabulous and not so quite fabulous. Regarding Michigan Jeff's question about taking Magical Express from a resort other than the one you stayed at, it is certainly possible. We did this a couple of years ago when we had our last meal at our vacation at Boma in the Animal Kingdom Lodge when we were staying at a different resort. I don't recall which resort. It could have been Coronado Springs or Value. Anyway, we checked into the airline desk and dropped off our luggage, visited a park, and then ended up at Animal Kingdom Lodge where we took our Magical Express bus. Note that we spoke to the front desk first and arranged a couple days early to make sure we were on the list at the lodge. So thank you, Choi. Next email is from some guy. Newell, I don't know if you know this guy. His name is Rick. He's kind of a hack, it seems like. I'm reading his email.
Is he another radio guy?
Yeah, you know how those guys are. Dime a dozen. Who needs it? Anyway, he writes, greetings all. Mr. Voice here. Insert Mouse World Radio weather promo here, Mike.
That's right.
2 quick dining questions for the illustrious panel. Matt, please read them slowly. Have we learned anything more about the Epcot Extra Dining Hour program? I don't think it's every restaurant, but I don't know if it's every day. Has it started yet? Has anyone tried it? It sounds cool.
I haven't heard anything on it other than the rumor. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything. Yeah, there was the rumor came out or the news, whatever. And there's been nothing else to back it up.
Nothing.
It's a good idea. I like basically, for those who hadn't heard, Epcot's restaurants are going to stay open 1 extra hour. Select restaurants, not all of them, but the sit-down restaurants to allow for greater, opportunity for reservations. I think it was a great idea. It sounds like a great idea. I mean, who doesn't after a long day? I mean, it'd be nice to be able to sit down and have a meal, even if it is late.
Well, we talking World Showcase. Well, the rumor. World Showcase open till 10 o'clock. Was that it?
I think that was the one, yeah.
That's the rumor.
I wish. Yeah.
Mr. Voice's second question. I'll never have the money to try it, but Victoria and Albert's has always sounded fabulous. My question is Victoria and Albert's worth it if you don't or can't eat seafood? I can't eat fish, and Mrs. Voice won't. I won't. I know they'll make a special menu if you book the chef's table, but what about a regular reservation? Should we even bother?
Yeah, I mean it's won awards for how many years in a row. So I've never. It's one of the I think 4 restaurants that I've never eaten at in Walt Disney World. Here's the thing though, there are other restaurants that are popping up this chef's table idea that you could also try if Victorian Albert's is out of your price range. Flying Fish has one, and I know it's the whole seafood thing, but I would look for other restaurants to start doing that around Walt Disney World too. I think they're experimenting with it in a couple of other places. I think, is Cuisina one of them? They're talking about it, or they're in the process of doing it. But look for you can do it at Chico too, right? You can sit at the bar and eat appetizers.
Yeah. And it's something that's a nice option for you. Certainly if if he, like Mr. Voice and his wife, are a little concerned about, seafood and everything.
Right. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and this is true for almost every restaurant in general at Walt Disney World, but they're the most accommodating place in terms of picky eaters, and if you're not interested in seafood or you don't like cheese on this or something like that, they're very, very accommodating about that. Don't ever feel bad about asking for your menu options to be altered in some way, because Disney World is really, really, really good about that.
Yeah, they are. Next
email's from Tom Bricker of Valparaiso, Indiana, and I noticed Tom is in the unofficial guide.
He's in the so Tom added a whole bunch of great photos to the color companion.
He has all those photos on Flickr. Every time I search for anything on Flickr, it's his photos show up.
Oh yeah, he's prolific. He's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photos. Yeah, I did a great job on those. So thanks, Tom.
Tom writes, my fiance and I are traveling to Walt Disney World for our honeymoon in mid-June. On the day we arrive, we plan on heading to the studios, and my estimation is that it will be around 4 p.m. when we finally arrive at the studios to catch the conclusion of the final Star Wars weekends. Our question is, what might we expect to accomplish while there for such a short period of time? Neither of us are huge Star Wars fans. So being, I added that in. So being unable to get any celebrity, I use that term very loosely, autographs is not an issue. Well, don't worry about it, Tom, because you're not going to get any at 4 o'clock. Our primary interest is getting photos with the Disney characters dressed in the Star Wars attire and seeing the finale hoopla. What are the Sunday afternoon wait times generally like for the Disney characters? How early let's start there. For the characters in the afternoon, you'll be okay. The Star Wars weekend stuff usually wraps up about 7 o'clock p.m. or so. So if you get there at 4, you'll have a few hours for characters, and that shouldn't be an issue at all. If you pick up the map, you'll see areas where the characters are available for meet and greet. Generally, the Rebel characters are by Star Tours, and the Imperial characters are over like in the backlot area. Tom writes, how early should we arrive at the hoopla stage in order to be able to see the attraction reasonably well? Definitely 30 minutes ahead of time. That would probably be a good estimation. That's that way, 30 minutes, you'll get a good spot. You'll be able to see it without a lot of people in front of you, theoretically, and should be fine. We would like to take in as many other elements of the event as possible, so any other suggestions would be great. We understand if lines will be too overwhelming to accomplish much else in 3 hours. The thing for you, Tom, is there's not going to be a whole lot going on. Usually, like I said, by about 4 o'clock, there's not a whole lot of events left in the daytime. Grab that planner. We don't know the schedule of events yet for Star Wars weekends. I'll post them on Studio Central as soon as I know that. But the thing to do is the characters should be definitely doable for you. You might be able to catch a show or two at the end, but you're going to have to play it a lot by ear. But since characters are your big priority, I don't think you'll have much of a problem. Just make sure you go to the areas where they are. And the one character, Darth Vader, never has a short line. So if you want to see him, just get in line and suck it up, I guess.
Vader never has the short line?
No, he always has the longest line. And it never dies. It's just no matter when, always going. Next email's from Josh Hopkins of Atlanta, Georgia. Writes, you guys always do a great job. Thank you. Whenever I ask a question, you guys are surprisingly quick to answer. The chapter with the Hollywood studios is shared with 2 other non-Disney parks in the unofficial guide. Yep. Ironic that Matt, huge studios guy, is on a podcast with the author of the unofficial guide who has not used his pull with the publisher to devote a whole chapter. You have a whole chapter, don't you?
No, it's shared with Universal Parks.
What? Hang on a second. I have to grab my lighter.
Apparently, Matt doesn't read.
The fire alarm's going to go off in a second, right?
Wow.
It's not a real park. Come on.
This is coming from the guy who's put the Animal Kingdom Primeval Whirl on the cover for 2 years in a row. I mean, come on. Yeah. That says a lot about your taste.
Yeah, it's true. What do we know about anything? Yeah, we're it might change next year. We might have Universal, or sorry, might have the studios out in its own park next year.
And I know Marvin will be thrilled.
Yeah.
Next email is for someone who didn't put their name. Don't forget to put your name and where you're from. Writes, not so much a question, but on September 20th, in preparation of hopefully running the Walt Disney World Marathon next January, I ran in the Dutchess County Half Marathon in Wappingers Falls, New York. Somehow I messed up my MP3 player and deleted all the music that morning, so I downloaded at least 3 hours of WDW Today podcast to listen to. Being 53 years old and out of shape for years, I averaged mostly between 11 to 13 minutes per mile. I completed it in 2 hours and 49 minutes. I've also been... Is that a good time, Scopa?
Well, for that age, and since he's... I think, it's tough to say. There are people who would love to have that, and there are people who would not like to have it. As long as he's happy, then it's fine.
I've also been to Fred Block's Dismeets for the past 4 years and was wondering if anyone else has commented negatively to it being moved to Florida. It being held in Pennsylvania afforded me the chance to get a little Disney magic at home. It's now being on the cruise in Florida kind of stops me because I've not been to the world for over 2 years and going at least 11 times in the previous 8. I feel if I'm going to spend the money and go on a cruise, I'll go on a Disney cruise or spend the money on Walt Disney World. Well, it's only for 1 year, right, Newell, the cruise?
Yes, it's just a one-time for this year.
Yeah.
It's going to return to land. I don't know where it's going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere in the Northeast, but I'm not sure where. I don't know if it's going to return to Camp Hill like it has been. But I'm sure Fred will have exciting announcement during this Magic Meets. And if any announcement will be made, he'll probably make it on when we do our live broadcast from the cruise. So tune in.
Good. Next email is from Jim, whose subject is Frunkus. I am currently at Walt Disney World, and it's been about 3 years since my last visit. I'm really concerned with how I've witnessed some of the behavior of some cast members. It was really bad compared to what I was used to in the past in the world. I saw cast members arguing on stage about 3 to 4 times. I can't even count how many cast members I saw smoking in uniform. Plus, they don't seem to be as friendly as I remember. Don't get me wrong, there were a bunch of cast members that were great, but there seemed to be a few others that were not so great. So, did I miss anything, or is this just usual? I don't think it's usual at all. I'm surprised, Billy.
Yeah.
Smoking in costume, that's
something I've never seen before. The only
I've never seen it.
The only way I can see that is maybe in the parking lot, but even so, they should know better than that. I mean, that's really just. Among the 4 of us, does anyone have anything negative to say about how? I really feel the cast members do a fantastic job on stage, and occasionally I have 1 or 2 that are having a bad day, whatever it may be. Whatever, you're going to have that, but the vast majority really do a great job. So
yeah, like any other large company with large employees, you're going to have occasion to run into someone who's not having a good day.
Mm-hmm.
It's always possible. Yeah.
Next email is from Art in Texas, who writes, my wife and I are celebrating our 20th anniversary with a Disney cruise on the Wonder, thanks to Stephanie at Mouse Fan Travel, who helped us set it up. But we're also planning to spend 2 nights at the World at the Swan before embarkation. The day before the cruise, we plan to spend in Epcot, and we'll be dining there. But the evening before that, we would like to have a nice romantic dinner at one of the resorts. Since we're laying down a significant chunk of change on the cruise, we will probably not spend the big bucks on Victoria and Albert's, even though we have never dined there. But instead, we have choices narrowed down to the following 6, which we've never also been to. Can you help us make our choice for us and give us some reasons for your favorites? I've listed them in the order we are leaning in order for our decision from first to last. Okay, you guys ready for this?
Yep.
California Grill, but only if we can score a reservation to coincide with Wishes viewing.
Okay.
Jico, we love Boma. Citricos. Narcoossee's, how do you distinguish between these 2 Grand Floridian restaurants? Menus don't really seem to give a clue as to a distinct cuisine. That's obviously referring back to Citricos there. Artist Point, in terms of decor and theming, Wilderness Lodge may be our favorite resort. Yachtsman Steakhouse. How about it? We're looking for quality food, excellent service, and a romantic atmosphere.
All right, so that would drop the last 2.
Well, he's got to pick 1. You only narrow it down to 1. So which one?
That's what I'm saying. So I dropped the last 2, and so we're only really talking about the 4.
All right, so Artist Point, Yachtsman gone. So that leaves California Grill, Jico, Citricos, Narcoossee's. That's a tough choice. If it was me, I would pick Jico. He said one thing about not dropping the big bucks. California Grill is very expensive. And that's one thing that stands out to me. It's not that it's bad. Don't get me wrong. Food is very good. I just like Jico a little bit better. I think Jico has great atmosphere, very, very good food, very good service. And that one's one of my favorite restaurants in Walt Disney World, to say the least. What do you think, Scopa? What's your thing?
I'm with you, Matt. I looking and I immediately dropped Artist Point, and Yachtsman. I've been on the fence about a year now with Yachtsman. Citrico's, Narcoossee's, California Grill. I think they're overpriced, so I'd go with Chico as well.
Len?
Man, I'm looking at the menu for Narcoossee's right now. You're right, Matt. It's so a lot of seafood for starters.
Mm-hmm.
But then the entrees are a good mix of beef, pork, chicken, and seafood. But I didn't realize how expensive it is.
Yeah, I like Citrico's, but in Narcoossee's obviously it's a little more expensive than that. And California Grill's way out there in price. So because I only bring up the price really because he mentioned he didn't want to drop the big bucks over there I said over there again, for Victoria and Albert's. So that's why I kind of also went for Chico. I think Chico is a better value for what you're getting and everything. I don't know, Newell. What would you do? Any of these restaurants speak to you?
Definitely Chico.
Okay, so we got 3.5 for Chico.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say.
Which one would you choose? You're gonna go to dinner tonight.
I liked Citrico's actually quite a bit. I liked it better than Chico's, but Chico's wasn't bad at all.
Cool. Next email's from Minnesota Ken, who writes, "All of you are awesome and thanks for the show. On episode 625, you talked about the ultimate touring plan. I was wondering how fast passes played into the plan and whether it would be legal time to have someone grab fast passes for you."
No. So you can't have any outside assistance. So you can't have anyone get fast passes for you. It's interesting. So Henry and Fred have the record like at 11:20 something, I think.
Those Canadians are notorious cheaters. You know that, right?
They are. Oh yeah, totally. But not Fred.
But not Fred.
But not Fred. So I think they ended up using FastPass on 4 or 5 attractions, essentially just gathering them throughout the day while they were passing through things. That's a great question, though. We've had people who have completed the Ultimate Touring Plan without using a single FastPass as well. That's primarily during off season. It's good if you happen to be in the area, you can get a fast pass and you know you're going to be around somewhere else later on. But for example, if you were to finish all of Frontierland except for like Splash Mountain and spend the rest of your day like on Main Street or in Tomorrowland, then having that fast pass versus going in the morning is a trickier challenge because you're essentially trading off maybe 13 minutes of time for maybe 10 minutes of time, and that's when things start to get dicey.
Well, he's got another question about the Ultimate Touring Plan, Len.
Sure.
You guys also talk about the length of the queue for Dumbo, but what about Peter Pan? I've been following wait time sporadically, and it seems like Peter Pan is longer than Dumbo on most of the times that I get to check. This was the case last year when we went to Disneyland. We would get on Dumbo, but had to wait forever for Peter Pan. Does Disney have plans to decrease wait times for Peter Pan?
I don't know what it can do. They're already at the maximum number of pirate ships that they can have on that. Dumbo, they're actually increasing the capacity by, in the Fantasyland expansion by
twice.
By coming up with another spinner. So they're essentially duplicating the ride.
Okay. Good. Next email is from Kathleen Gillespie of Lexington, Massachusetts. Whereas my family and I are thinking about heading to the world for my son's spring vacation soon. But I see from the crowd calendar on touringplans.com that grad night falls on it. Now, if we're going for 2011 here, I've heard that grad night it can impact the park crowds. So what impact will grad night be on the crowds at a park? The crowd calendar usually recommends going... that's a different question, but start out with that. How do grad nights affect crowds, Len?
So years ago, it used to not be much. They'd close the park at 7, so we generally not recommend the Magic Kingdom at 7. But lately, we've seen, since it's always on a Friday and Saturday night, we've seen families make weekends out of this. So the kids are going up Friday night with their school or whatever. The family, and since it's mostly Florida high schools for grad night, the families will sometimes make a weekend out of it and go up with the kids as well. So it does increase attendance a little bit on those days. So we noticed back in 2008 a larger increase in the number of people doing that. In 2009, I guess because the economy wasn't that pronounced. So we'll keep an eye on it for this year too.
Cool. Next email is from Brian, who writes, been listening since just before episode 100 and catching up after knee surgery by listening to Magic Meets audio. Ironically, with all your comments, I was in Alaska while you were doing this. So Matt, you're afraid to fly, huh? Well, I have a cure for you. I'm originally from Alaska and grew up flying with bush pilots. You need to go up there and take a few thrill rides on a bush plane. There's just nothing like feeling those thermals coming off ridges. Once you do that, a jet will seem tame, sort of like the difference between Mission Space and Peter Pan. Trust me, it'll work, and since there's very few people in the plane, you can scream as much as you like.
That's awesome.
I have 2 words for you. Leonard Skinnerd.
Yeah, exactly. Well, weren't they? No, that was Randy Rhoads was skimming the tour bus. Never mind.
Yeah, no, thank you, but that's not exactly. If I was going to get over it, that wouldn't be the way I would do it. But thanks. Next email is from Amber, who's got 2 quick questions for us. Could you go to Disney World before or after a Disney cruise, and why? Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Would you or could you?
She says, could you?
You can't do either. I would go after. I just think I would need the break.
I've always done it the opposite way.
You like it better after, Mike?
You go cruise first, then Disney after.
I like that too, and the reason why I like that is that you come back from the cruise and you're like, man, the cruise is over, and you kind of have that. But I like to ease into Disney World and kind of, have that. Not so the vacation doesn't like come to a screeching halt, because when you're on the cruise, you're pampered. You're all the food you can eat, and it's such a great experience. And I think like Newell, I like to have that coming back to Walt Disney World. Have a few days to kind of like. It's not. I mean, you're still on vacation. Don't get me wrong, but it's an easier integration back into the real world.
I agree. I totally agree.
Good. Her other question was, would you trust touring plans 100% for Star Wars weekends in 2010? Our family must plan far advance for work schedules.
For 2010 or 2011?
2010. Star Wars weekends.
Well, he's already announced, so I don't understand the question.
Oh, no, the touring plan. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Matt, they came from you, so go ahead. Go ahead. You answer this question.
I think so. I mean, the touring plans definitely are going to be a great opportunity to help you. The basic things you're going to want to keep in mind, Amber, get there for park opening. If you want fast passes for autographs for the celebrities there, you got to get there way more in advance. I'm talking like 6 a.m. or so, and I'm not joking. You got to be there that early. But otherwise, be at the park well before opening. If anything, just so you can watch the Stormtrooper skit, which is really a lot of fun. Make sure you prioritize your things, and if merchandise is what you're looking for, get to that immediately. If the shows are there, your priority, get to those shows well before. Usually 20-30 minutes before is a good school of thought. And if the characters, just make sure you give yourself plenty of time. And again, if you can, spread Star Wars weekends over 2 or 3 days. I mean, they're held Friday through Sunday for a reason. You can do it in one day, yes, but it makes it for much more difficult if you try to squeeze it all in one day. It's far, far, far easier if you can have even 2 days. 3 days is beautiful, because then you can really stretch things out. You're not going to be under so much pressure, and you can take things a lot easier. Next email is from Kathy, who writes, my question has to do with a guest being careless with their trash. Walt Disney World has always been one of the cleanest places in the world, and in the past, guests have respected that and cleaned up after themselves. My past trip, I witnessed food being left on tables at counter service locations.
It drives me up the wall.
Does it really?
Oh my God.
Plates and glasses from Food and Wine Festival left on benches and on the grass, all within 5 steps of a trash can. The final straw was fantastic. When we arrived, the place was spotless. After the show ended, my husband and I decided to wait for the crowd to clear. As the seats emptied, we were horrified by the accumulation of garbage. An army of Disney employees descended upon the place with rubber gloves, gigantic garbage bags, and those long pinching claws. When I mentioned something to one of the cast members, he shrugged his shoulders like this was a normal occurrence. We've been going to Walt Disney World for over 30 years and have never seen anything like this before. Do you think the recent promotions have brought a different caliber of guests? By that I mean those who don't get it, or am I just being old and grumpy? What do you think, Scope? That's a good question.
Speaking of old and grumpy.
Thanks, buddy.
Sorry.
I have noticed over the last 25, 30 years that I think people are just lazy. And I think that they don't appreciate what they have waiting for them when they get there. And if they had to spend a day doing what that crew does at Fantasmic, I think that the next time they would go to a Disney park, they would take their trash and put it away. I mean, you think about what these people have to do every day and how much they get paid to do it, and maybe that's what is needed here. Maybe an education is needed for all these lazy people.
It's sad
All the
because
lazy people in the lazy river. Sorry, go ahead, Noel. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, it's probably those are probably the same people that when I stay at a Value and I'll come back late at night, those same kind of people will pull their table and chairs out of the room onto the patio area, and all of a sudden now there's a balcony, an outdoor balcony that they're hanging out and smoking and drinking, and then the next morning you see the mess that they leave there too, and it's just really sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just here's the thing: throwing out your trash is the easiest thing you can do. There are so many garbage cans everywhere at Walt Disney World. I mean, they're all over the place. I mean, really, there really is no excuse for it to leave your trash behind, even in Fantasmic. Look, I mean, I go to a baseball game and I'm the kind of guy who I do make a mess. I freely admit I leave my stuff behind. Even in movie theaters, I do that. But at Disney World, there's trash cans everywhere you're going. Literally, it's really hard to miss them. So I really think it's worth it to make that effort and just throw it away, because and the reason why Disney World is so clean is because the cast members are trained to pick up that garbage if they see it anywhere. They don't leave it for the custodial guys to pick up. You could be the cast member working Star Tours, or you could be a manager. They all, as soon as they see garbage on the ground, they go and pick it up. Yeah, that's great, but they shouldn't have to do that.
I see managers all the time with those grabby things on a stick.
Yeah, the claws. Yep.
Yeah, and they're always walking around picking up garbage, and that's really nice to see. Like you said, they shouldn't have to do that, but they do, and that's one of the reasons why the parks are spotless to begin with.
Yeah, but do yourself a favor, do everyone a favor, and just pick up after yourself. It's really easy. Next email is from Jen from Raleigh, North Carolina, who writes, "Love your podcast. You answered some questions for me last year for my first time trip, and we had so much fun. We're planning another trip with some friends this time. My question relates to smoking at the hotels, which I know is not allowed. So I'm wondering, if they catch you smoking in the hotel room, will they kick you out of the hotel and make you leave Disney World, or will they just fine you?"
Yeah, I think they charge your credit card.
They charge your credit card for a room cleaning. It's like a couple $100.
I thought it was $300 to $500 depending on the resort.
Was it really that much?
It's a lot. And don't forget there's smoke detectors in the room too. It could be embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want.
So doesn't it make sense for them to tell people ahead of time that that's what the charge would be if they discover a scent of cigarette smoke in the room? Wouldn't that be a deterrent?
Isn't it somewhere in there?
It's on that little form that you sign. I
thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah. When you first check in.
Maybe it's not in large enough type.
Maybe.
Yeah, I have seen it on the form that you sign.
Well, it's time for our last question of the day, and that means I'm going to give Mr. Newell 3 emails to choose from. 1 gets read today. The other 2 go back into the email queue to be answered later. You ready, Mike?
Let's go.
Your options are Save This Guy, What in the Muppet, Brainwashing Works.
Oh, we had that last week, I think, right? So let's bring it up. Bring it up to the big leagues. Brainwashing Works, please.
Brainwashing Works for 400.
200.
Okay. 200. Last email of the day is from Jeff Arsenalot of Coventry, Rhode Island. Writes, "My wife Kathy and I are longtime listeners and had a moment to share with you. We recently made our first trip to Disneyland to celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary.
Woo.
We purchased the Disneyland version of The Good Book and started off using the touring plans, but after our first full day, we were able to tour at a nice leisurely pace. We frequently consulted the guide while we were in the park to assist us with dining and show recommendations. One afternoon in Tomorrowland, we were in line for Astro Orbiters and were reviewing the unofficial guide for some help with lunch. I looked ahead in the line, and another woman was reading the guide. I pointed this out to my wife, and as if on cue, we simultaneously said ding and proceeded to laugh out loud. Pavlov's theory was correct, and it apparently works on humans as well."
Oh, that's just great.
That's awesome.
That's nice. Thank you.
I try to occasionally. I'm in the parks once a week for the studio's photo update, and I used to take photos of people having the unofficial guide, but it just looked creepy after a while. I mean, I had the best of intentions, but
I'm friends with the author. That's awesome.
So, very good. Thank you for sharing that story. Always funny to
Thank you.
That. Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, you can visit the WDW website at WDWtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.